everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the show where myself, Dan Selcke of winterscoming.net, and Cheryl Wassenaar, culture.com, talk all things Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, fantasy fiction. Cheryl, how are you?
I'm in kind of this, like, post-Game of Thrones zombie mode, almost.
Are you really?
I'm a little tired. I have, like, no focus for television right now. I just don't want to be disappointed again.
Ooh, hot take. Well, lukewarm take.
Medium warm. Like, we put it in the oven, but we took it out to let it cool off. Yeah.
I enjoyed the episode. Before we go any further, I liked it, and I'll be arguing for it. Julie, I know you were a big fan.
So,
by the way, hello, everybody. Hello,
yes,
Kenny,
hi, everyone.
Elise. I love the name. Christian, Hilario, Julie, of course, Karen Lembo. With a comment from Julie, instead of criticizing D&D, how about thanking them for bringing the show to us? Thank you, D&D. And I don't think anybody has to thank Benioff and Weiss for making this show, but it's something you can certainly do, and I thank them. I mean, at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun TV watching over the past bunch of years, thanks to this great cast and crew. So, you know what? Yeah. Kudos to the Game of Thrones cast and crew for bringing us 8 years of television. Okay. So today, people, we're going to talk about the finale, season finale Game of Thrones, obviously. The Iron Throne. It's no secret there has been a bunch of negative feedback online.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely... Isn't it weird that it's been known to happen before? Like, there are other series finales of important shows that have, well, I don't know, important, that have disappointed people. Like, Lost is an obvious one. Dexter is legendary. Even Seinfeld didn't do too all the time. Sopranos kicked up a lot of dirt at the time, although I think that one's aged pretty well.
Yeah.
First off, I enjoyed the episode. I really did. I remember right after we watched it, and after I wrote about it, I felt kind of at peace. Like, okay, it's done. And I did think it tied things up without being too persnickety about it. And, had some light and dark in there. I do think, and I said this on our Wit Club episode, that should have been 2 episodes. One of Daenerys dying, kind of that being the end, and the other being the rest because the tones were so different. Overall, I enjoyed it, and I did feel satisfied. But I know people do not feel that way in a lot of parts of the internet.
Yeah, I am at, like, a solid, 68 to 70, 7% of my problem with this entire season has been the execution of it. And by execution, I primarily mean the writing.
I'd agree that there were some turns they didn't earn.
Right. Which is not to say that I did not, in a lot of ways, enjoy watching the final season, because I did, for the most part, enjoy watching it. And have emotions and...
Kathleen sobbed.
Okay. That's valid. That is very valid.
I did not cry. Did you cry?
No.
No.
But I don't really cry
No, me neither.
at TV or movies, which is very strange because I'm a huge crier in life generally. But yeah, no, it was that is where most of my criticism lies, because I think it is perfectly valid to criticize things you like.
Oh, totally.
And Dan's like pulling the knife out already. I'm like, Dan, I'm not coming for the show that hard.
I was gonna have something in my hands to wave around.
Oh, okay, I know.
And I'm cooler than a pen.
That's fair. But yeah, like, I'm not gonna go out and sign the petition to remake season 8 because, like, there's things that are too far even for me. And I'm not necessarily saying that, like, oh, I'm not a fan of Benioff and Weiss now. Like, I haven't been for a few seasons anyway, so yeah, like, I didn't hate the season. I just was disappointed with a lot of the execution of it.
I agree that there are some points, especially Daenerys' big turn. I didn't quite buy it. I think if they had sold it to me, I think I would have forgiven pretty much everything. But about the final episode,
yes,
I want us to name some things we liked and name some things we didn't.
Okay.
I'll go first.
You will have an easier time with it than I do.
Really enjoyed I thought they did a really good job. Pretty much the entire sequence of Daenerys and Jon in the throne room, from when she kind of stalks into it slowly and touches the throne, kind of paying off that season 2 moment a long time ago. I really liked that she was kind of back to being sort of the Daenerys as we know her. Like she's talking about when I was a little girl, I imagine the throne was like a mile high. And it almost comes off as like a little sociopathic because she just burned down a city full of people. But like the way that she played it, Emilia Clarke, like that's Daenerys. Like that's the Daenerys I know. Like she's still got some innocence in her. She's still got some dreams in her. And I mean, the way she talked about wanting to make a better world and to, you know, I forget the exact line, but it was something like, you know, you can't go with half measures all the time when you really want to make a place where things are different, which I could get behind. I thought it was very sweet, and I loved Drogon burning the throne. I thought that was a fun moment. That was a good moment. I liked that. I'd like to think that he was maybe like acting through her, or she was acting through him. But at some level, she maybe knew that it took her too far, and so she wanted to melt it down. I enjoyed that bit. I enjoyed the whole scene. I thought it was very well put together.
Okay. So now I have to say, I think I liked.
We didn't really plan on to do this. Why don't you respond to that? Maybe what you didn't like was that scene.
Actually, what I didn't like was Drogon burning the throne down. So.
Why not?
Because it was so heavy-handed. Like, I get all the symbolism,
Sure.
blah, blah, blah. But
Symbolism,
like,
what?
yeah, I know. But like, I don't know if dragons understand symbolism. And so I was just, yeah, like, sure, you can maybe think, oh, he's killing the thing that killed his mother, but because there's a pointy thing sticking out of her, but like, wouldn't he be able to smell Jon on her and like...
See, that kind of... Okay, here's my argument against that. That kind of... okay, yes, it was heavy-handed symbolism, but I mean, the Jon Snow just killed his lover in the throne and actually burned it down for feeling a dream. Like, there's some room for kapow symbolism in the show. I don't think we need to avoid it all the time. And I mean, sometimes symbols are good. I really liked the directness of burning down the throne. It's the cause of all this mess. Screw you, chair. Do it. And as far as like, I feel like you can nitpick at a lot of stuff. Like, you know, why did he kill Jon? Why did he kill the throne rather than Jon? I mean, maybe Jon's a Targaryen. Maybe that's the reason. Or maybe it's just because some scenes can work on a metaphorical level and not have to, like, you know, work literally for everything. And I also like my little idea that Daenerys and Drogon always had a big connection. That they always kind of, you know, he's literally a magical creature. That he, and Tyrion has said the dragons are intelligent, but he just knew in his literal lizard brain somehow that this was the reason. I think there is a kind of straight to the heart truth about that.
Yeah,
that I think worked.
But they didn't earn it in the same way that they didn't earn a lot of stuff that went down.
Sure.
What I would have liked to see is changing the blocking of the scene a little bit. So Jon is standing in front of the throne when Drogon. So it makes sense that he.
You really wanted him to go for Jon.
Yeah, I did. But like, if he goes for Jon, tries to torch Jon is still standing, because.
Oh.
And the throne is, an unintended consequence.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I do not like that.
That's fine. You don't have to like it.
It's true.
Because it's my fantasy of how Game of Thrones actually happened. Yeah, so I will say one thing I liked, because
Go ahead.
I did like some parts of the episode, guys.
Before, really quick, what did you guys think of the Drogon burns the throne scene?
Yes, please
We'd
tell
like
us.
to know.
Please tell us.
Okay. Go on.
I really, really liked Sansa Stark's coronation scene.
Oh, good. I like that too.
I mean, look, I've been part of the Sansa Stark Brigade for like forever at this point, but I thought it was really, really well shot and just like didn't need any lines aside from Queen of the North, Queen of the North. That's all we need to see. But like the costuming of Sansa.
The dress was great.
she is literally like a living weirwood tree.
Oh, she looked great. She looked freaking good.
And there's all this super cool symbolism about it, and like I said, Sansa Stark Brigade. But yeah, like that was a killer scene.
I mean, and that paid off a thing that has been percolating for quite a while.
Yes, it did.
I mean, she wanted to get Queen of the North way back in season 6 when they gave it to Jon. Like, you knew it. She wanted to get that for a long time. So yeah, that's an example of something that built pretty slowly.
Yes.
The finally see her get it was satisfying. In fact, I liked that whole ending montage a lot.
Okay.
I'm still not quite sold on Arya exploring west of Westeros. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, cool idea. Like, did she ever really show, I don't know, interest in exploring for exploring's sake? But on the other hand, she has been all over the world. I mean, she has gone to a lot of places. She's not ready to settle down yet, clearly. But I liked the way it was composed. I liked the kind of the tripling. You see all the 3-star kids from the back of their head walking off into thing. The more I think about it, the more I like Jon's ending.
Okay.
At first, when I saw it, I didn't quite know what they were showing me when he's like walking out beyond the wall, which is an obvious reference to the first episode of the first scene of the show where they do the same thing with the wildlings. He might go and resettle them. He might go just join them. The more I think about it, like, oh, I kind of like that ambiguity. That is he sticking with the Night's Watch and just going out to help them, or is he ranging, or is he leaving? Like, I think that was a nice ending for Jon.
Jon Snow finally ambiguous. It only took him 8 seasons and 73
Got some
episodes.
layers.
Yeah, no, I liked it too. I liked the shout out to the first episode. I thought it was some nice kind of bookending of everything. So I liked that too. I will say I did not like Tyrion's speech about stories.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this in a bunch of detail on
We did.
the Wit Club episode this week about just Bran being king. Did it make sense? Did it not? What are they trying to say about it? What are they trying to get across? I'm not sure we really had a consensus.
No,
But
there was no consensus.
my basic argument was I like Bran on the throne. I think it says something about leadership and rulership they're trying to say, about that Bran, this dispassionate, person who doesn't let his passions control him, is their idea of, okay, that should be a good leader. Someone who has the history in their head and will never repeat history because he remembers all of it, was my basic argument. I could have used some more just interplay before they chose him, like some more horse trading for votes maybe. And yeah, the story thing didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But Bran does make sense to me.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of him on the throne. How about this? Did you like that after all this kingship, that they did make a incremental step towards not being an absolute hereditary monarchy?
No,
No, why not?
because you can instantly break that. Literally instantly break that over your heel.
I mean, you can break anything over your heel.
Well, yeah, over your knee, not your heel. Sorry, it's
Wait, where's the heel? This is your heel? Whatever.
this is your heel.
Okay.
So under your heel, more like, because you would step on. Anyway, it just didn't. It was this very weird attempt to kind of be mildly democratic without being totally democratic. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's too easy to horse trade it. And because they showed Bran becoming king without horse trading, it makes it really hard to buy that system would continue well for any period of time.
I mean, you can interpret it that way, but I think also, again, it's like, think about what they're trying to say. Maybe they're saying that absolute change, like quick change to democracy, they laughed at it. They laughed Sam out of the room.
Yeah.
Just isn't possible. Maybe they're endorsing an incremental system. And I mean, yes, you can break it, but if they tried to institute democracy all of a sudden, I don't think it would have made a whole lot of sense. You could break that too. Or, I mean, anything can fall apart, but isn't the trying the reason we're here, Cheryl?
For those who are listening on the podcast, I was making such a face right then. Like,
Such a face.
I hope you can feel it. It was a face of kind of minor discomfort and disbelief. More like major discomfort and disbelief. Anyway, yeah, but it seemed so fairy tale in a way that I have not been either conditioned to accept or have been ready to accept in Game of Thrones.
And I've heard that complaint, and it seems kind of contradictory to me a little bit.
What do you mean?
The people are saying, it's a fairy tale ending, but I mean, they barely make a dent in the monarchy. Like, it's not a huge shift. Like, I think it's a little more, it seems more grounded.
I think I'm not arguing about the ending so much as the readiness. Like,
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
That's my sticking point, is the readiness by which all of this was accepted. I mean, literally, Lin-Manuel Miranda has made so much money, over showing in the second act of Hamilton, winning is easy, governing is harder. Like, it should have been harder, I guess. And that's why I'm saying it's very fairy tale to me. We have not been conditioned to accept that all of these different people, no matter how many of them are Stark relatives, because so many of them are Stark relatives.
There were a bunch, yeah.
Would that easily, with all of their disparate interests and motivations, be willing to accept even this gradual change after, nearly 300 years of hereditary monarchy in some form or another?
Yes, but also after 300 years of really, really bad hereditary monarchs, just like being the worst.
I mean, yeah, but...
Maybe they're sick of it.
Sure, but explain that to me. Earn this change. Even if you drop it in hints, whatever, earn the change.
What if they did through the whole show? People being very upset as they wore. Podcast, another eye roll.
Oh my God.
I think they should have had more talking in that scene.
Yes.
But I like the end of it, and it didn't strike me as fairy tale. It's a weird disconnect. People have been talking about, was it too happy? I mean, in a way that it was everything. It was Daenerys dying. It's not a happy ending.
No.
Like, Jaime, Cersei, Theon, all of it. Even Jon being exiled. I didn't think it was too happy. I thought it was, again, after the long, brutal stuff everyone been through, not everyone was going to be, miserable. Some folk... And I also like that it didn't end... it left some room. Not in a sequel bait kind of way, which HBO confirmed they're not making any sequels to this. Or do you not believe that, or what?
I believe that it's true right now.
Gotcha. You think it'll come back?
I don't believe it'll be true in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, we'll see. We will. But, it didn't feel like they were setting up for it, though. I really believe that.
No.
I think that it's an acknowledgement that, life goes on. Like, these characters are not going to stop living their lives because...
No. I just found it very tonally clunky.
I will say the episode as a whole, because they were just so different in the halves.
Right. Yeah,
is
all
my
of it
objection to the tone.
is tonally clunky. And clunky is the best word I can find for it. Just that it kind of it's wonky. Especially towards the end there, when everybody goes back to sitting and doing the business of governing. Like, how long does it take for Tyrion to adjust the chairs? Did we really need Tyrion adjusting the chairs for that long?
Well, he's trying to get back into the handship swing of things. I didn't mind that. I didn't really quite get it, but...
Yeah, like I didn't get it. So yeah, just all of that shift was very weird for me to accept.
No, I agree that it should have been 2 episodes. I stand by that.
Yeah.
But even then, taking it by itself, and there was even a pleasure in kind of seeing the follow-up. Not perfect, but I did enjoy the finale even quite a bit. I did feel fulfilled at the end. And I know even in the comments people are raging back and forth.
Oh, of course they are.
John should have different endings, says Janet. I don't agree. I like John's ending. I thought that was makey sensey. The Starks get a happy ending, says Karen. They did. Yeah. But again, I mean, it's kind of that there and back again thing. Like, Frodo gets a happy ending, but he's changed. They're all changed. They can't go back. Bran's literally not even Bran Stark anymore.
I am Bran. I am robot. No.
0000111.
Ooh, whipping out binary and everything.
Look, they are a lot of things we can talk about. I mean, there really are. It was
So many things.
quite a show. We'll be looking back on it in the future, back in this season, back in the series, back in this episode. Let's move on now, because we're not actually 100% done with new Game of Thrones episodes, although we pretty much are. This Sunday, there's going to be a behind-the-scenes documentary about all these showrunners, writers, actors thinking they are making God's gift to television. And it's going to be... It's going to be a weird watch, right? Let's watch the preview and see what we think for the last watch this Sunday, when Game of Thrones usually air.
This is strange. Here we are at the last table read. It's like looking around and seeing your family.
It's our biggest season ever.
Every episode has as much in it as one feature film.
It's like, oh my God. What was I thinking?
Winter's coming, yeah.
I can't even begin to imagine how this is going to look on TV.
Here we go. Been doing night shoots. I'm broken.
I could not have worked harder. I really have given this everything I have.
It's like a magical place. It's hard to say goodbye to everybody.
That was Amelia's last shot on Game of Thrones.
This is a dream job, a director. This show saved my life.
It's hard to fathom that I'll never be coming back. Best thing I've ever done.
And we're back. The Last Watch documentary. Okay, first things first. Are you watching it?
Probably. Like,
Are you going to cover it?
not extensively, I don't think.
We'll be covering it Wick, just FYI.
Yeah, you'll be covering it Wick. We'll probably have, some brief coverage. I'm mostly going to be watching it to watch Kit Harington cry. So...
That's fine.
And for Schadenfreude purposes.
Can I prod that a little bit? Why do you want to see Kit Harington cry?
I just think it's going to be funny. Like, I just, we have read how many interviews where they talk about their emotions when it comes to this stuff. But, like, they're just words on a page, and you don't know how much is kind of celebrity nonsense and how much is, like, actually accurate. So I think it'll be refreshing to see.
I think it will be too.
How much genuine feeling there is in all of this. Not to say that I don't believe them when they say, "Oh yeah, this show has been part of my life. Like I love it. I'm so glad to have been there." More just like the kind of the balance between what is real and what is artifice, and
Sure,
also because
I
I
can
think
take
I think it would be really funny to watch Kit Harington cry. Like I'm not gonna lie.
I'm looking forward to
here.
it. I think might remind people of just there is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into this.
Yeah.
Like a ton of feeling, a ton of effort, a ton of dreams, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be interesting to watch. And Brett here arguing that Brett James, that everybody got what they wanted. I disagree with you there. Some did. Like Jaime and Cersei enter and leave the world together. I don't know if that's what they wanted exactly. I don't think either of them would want to lie. Cersei wanted to get out of there. Cersei wanted the baby to survive. It just happened that they happened to be holding each other like a womb kind of thing. So I do think it qualifies as bittersweet.
Yeah.
And Julie is looking forward to the Last Watch. I am too. And finally, okay, here's something. Maybe Tyrion should have gone to the Watch with Jon.
I would have liked that.
Yeah, I think that might have been... Yeah,
I would have liked that better.
Because, he's a prisoner too.
Yeah. But instead he just gets to be hand of the king because he doesn't want it.
I mean, apparently
Symbolism.
that's his punishment, was what the way Bran put it.
Yeah,
He'll spend the rest of his life correcting his mistakes. Which is like, okay, fine. I mean, and all he did was let Jaime out. It's like, Jon's the real target here. He killed the frickin' queen.
Yeah. Like, we're thinking about this a lot.
What? No, because that's been a complaint. Like,
Yeah.
why would Grey Worm hold them prisoner? Because, I mean, Jon killed the queen, and Daenerys and Tyrion was already a prisoner.
Yeah, and why
That makes sense to me.
Why did Jon? I mean, I know why Jon turned himself in, but like,
Oh, come on.
buddy, my dude, my guy. This is like the one time to not have principles.
That was never going to be a thing
I
Jon
know,
did.
but
So yeah, I wasn't bothered by that part of it.
no.
Finally, moving on a bit, Chris Payne, if Jaime and Cersei had moved 10 feet over, they'd still be alive. I don't know about that. It was a little discordant, the way they, like, had the whole thing collapse in the episode, but then Tyrion, like, removed 3 bricks and there they were.
Yeah.
But whatever, you got the point.
Go stand in an archway, you idiots. I believe is the
There was a lot of rubble.
yeah.
Moving on, though, so is the ending to Game of Thrones going to be the same as the ending to Song of Ice and Fire? That's now kind of where we're at for that.
And then George R. R. Martin said things about it.
George R. R. Martin is becoming one of my favorite people to read online. I love just that he just kind of blurts out stuff, and you shouldn't, but it's great. I love it.
I mean, yeah. All right, read it to me. Dan.
Okay, so the question we're wondering now, will A Song of Ice and Fire be the same as Game of Thrones, the ending? Now, basically, okay, here's what George R. R. Martin said. Well, yes and no, and yes and no, and yes and no, and yes. He gave a whole big spiel on his blog about how, you know, they're working in a different medium than me. I intend my books to be 3,000 pages each, or, I mean, total, I think. That's way too much.
That's still way too much.
There are characters who aren't in the books who you'll find the stories of, you know, Aerion Martell and Aegon Targaryen, another fucker I don't really care about. He didn't say no, so yes, like this is pretty much George R. R. Martin's ending. I am 98%, 99%, you know, 100% sure. This is the ending. He'll get to it a lot more slowly, which could solve some of the problems we had with it, setting things up a little more far ahead of time. I think it definitely will.
Yeah, it'll help.
I mean, too slowly, frankly.
Yeah, because the bloat's a problem. The bloat.
And then he asked the kind of rhetorical Zen koan, book or show, which will be the real ending? It's a silly question. How many children did Scarlett O'Hara have? Referencing that she had, I think, 3 in the book, Gone with the Wind, and 1 in the movie, which is a way of saying there is no real ending. That's not a thing. It doesn't exist.
No.
It's like these are 2 different mediums. They both will have a real ending. And no one is more real than the other is my takeaway from that.
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying. But I think not everyone will come to it with as zen of an approach as he has.
Oh, totally.
In the
we all
sense-
can't be brands.
No, we cannot.
Should
Thankfully.
be.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Okay, go on.
My favorite character on Star Trek is Dr. McCoy. That should tell you everything.
Never seen Star Trek.
Oh my god. What's wrong with you? Anyway, I don't think people are going to come to the same conclusion because basically Game of Thrones got there first. And so I think in the grand collective memory of media, there will probably be this tendency to think of the Game of Thrones ending as the true ending, or at least the more prominent ending, if not necessarily the true ending. Like, people are going to remember the Game of Thrones ending before they're going to remember how A Song of Ice and Fire ends, mostly because it doesn't take a quadrillion hours to get through 1,500 pages.
I don't know, though. I mean, after the strong response to the Game of Thrones ending, I think there are some fans out there who are like, I can't wait to read the real ending in A Song of Ice and Fire.
And yeah, I'm talking more about not necessarily the kind of the diehards of the fandom, so much as I'm talking about the collective media consciousness here.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
This is, yeah. I mean, I still think that doesn't discount the central kind of tenet, which is they're both going to be real.
No.
Like when the media talks about the Game of Thrones ending, it's not going to mean the Song of Ice and Fire ending.
No.
I'm sure someone got them mixed up, but
Well, of course, but I'm saying more that the tendency in the collective consciousness is to remember and be more conscious of and refer to Game of Thrones over A Song of Ice and Fire, not just because it got there first, but because, well, mostly because it got there first. But, you know, and for the ease of getting to the ending, because, you know, it's only 70 odd hours instead of however long it's going to take you to read through all 7 books.
I mean, you, like a weekend.
No, actually, it takes me a while to read George R. R. Martin because I just get like, I can't after a while with his prose. Martin is not one of those authors that I sit down and just devour. It just doesn't work for me, so.
Well, we'll be talking more about George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and
Yes,
Fire
we will.
when A Song of Dan and Josh returns in the coming weeks. Maybe not next week. I think I might need one more week of break, but very soon.
You too need a break from George R. R. Martin.
No, I want to get back into it. I actually already read the next chapter last night. Just I wanted to get ahead of it.
Wow.
But no, just I want some just chill time for Dan. But
That's fair.
we'll be bringing that more Song of Dan and Josh, our Song of Fire read through. We're not going anywhere. We'll be back here next week, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, talking about more. I think for a while, we'll be looking back on Fallout, just impressions, highs and lows of the series, what it means, where it's going. And of course, there's a world of television out there that's going to be inspired by Game of Thrones.
So much television.
That's all. Oh God, too much television. That's already being inspired by Game of Thrones.
So much television.
Talk about that. I would love to talk about things that are. And there's prequels coming up. We'll talk about things that aren't Game of Thrones. There is a lot of other movies and TV shows out there.
What?
That I would love to discuss. I hope you guys will come along for the ride.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed this with you. We're not done, but this is going to be a new era. And Lisa says, thanks for doing this podcast. You're welcome, Lisa. And you can
are very
find us on
welcome.
iTunes and Google Play. Spreaker, I want to say. I don't know, somewhere else. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Have any final thoughts, Cheryl?
No, of course, thank you guys for watching. Glad to explore this what do we do now era with you guys.
Who knows? We'll see what happens. And I do agree that, Julie, that the negativity is tiring. It is. It is tiring. I don't know.
What's tiring?
The negativity.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a bit of a drain on the soul a little bit when,
yeah, that's
when
why
you're
I try
steeped in it.
to be measured in my criticism.
And and you totally are.
Yeah,
It's the best.
because even I can get tired of drinking haterade.
Here's a knife. It's a reward. All right.
He's telling me what I can do with my negativity.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week at Wednesday at 4 p.m. I'll love you all. Thanks, Terry. Thanks for watching, and adios.
Bye, everyone.